That's another thing the myth about Skip. He's a street ball player. No, he's a legit basketball player. He didn't start off in street ball. He started off in organized basketball. People think he went from street ball to the NBA. Absolutely not. You ain't never seen that happen. He was a trained basketball player. He just so happened to do street ball.
Money conversations, we've been making business moves. Contemplating how to get it, need to get in tune. Different topics, we got options, you can pick and choose. If more income ain't the outcome, gotta switch the mood. We tryna help you to improve, thanks for asking. Road to riches, speak on broker days and past tense. Wealthy habits, lately I just wanna stack chips. Took a risk and we've been running up a bag since. G-Vast Quest, quick to make a couple G's. Detox, spin knowledge, put you on your feet. Bug out, got the plate, make sure to pray before you eat. At the table with the winners, come and take a seat.
Yo. What up? For the next episode of Thanks for Asking, we got the brother. Ramar Alston is the brother of Rafer Alston. Skip to my Lou. He came all the way from uptown. He came to chill with us and tell his story. Yo, Detox, start the show, bro.
Let me get a round of applause. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you,
what
thank
up, man?
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
Shit, thank you for coming, man.
Yeah, I've been watching.
I was nice. I was going. It's cool, though.
Yeah, we from Queens, you know what I mean?
That's a fact.
We get a pass on it.
Even though SO said we invented the pause game, but
it wasn't called pause though. It was called Bad Habits and
BBB.
All that
BB
shit.
budget.
So it came from that.
Yeah,
so
You say BB
right.
Buzzet, you know about that.
Yeah,
Right.
I know all that. That's right.
Some Brooklyn
that's
shit.
Old school.
BB
That's
Buzzet, right.
That's right. I'm traveling.
BB Buzzet.
Yeah. See, that's one thing about me. Like,
BB Buzzet.
I lived in every single borough.
Right.
Like, people don't know that. We lived in
Right.
every single borough. Manhattan, Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens. Staten Island, we had coaches that we went to go spend the night with for the weekend.
Yeah,
so
right,
we had,
right.
you know, that familiarity. You'll hear me drop little slang that come from here, from
That's
there.
right,
you know
that's
what I
right,
mean?
that's right.
no doubt.
Yeah.
So talk to me. How do you pronounce it? Ramar or
Yeah, it's Ramar.
Ramar? Okay.
My brother and sister, their names is Ray for Racine. But a lot of people pronounce my name Raymar because of them. But it's really Ramar.
Okay. Because the pronunciation is always finicky for me. I can butcher a name. But
It's actually a palindrome, too. It's something you spell the same frontwards and backwards. So R-A-M-A-R.
Oh, that's dope. Right.
Wow. So what was it like growing up, man?
Well, I mean, to be honest, like, it was phenomenal, man. For me, I can't speak for everybody else, but for me, when I, looking back now, at the time, I didn't see it as that, special. But the growing up around the people that I grew up around, like, I gotta say that was phenomenal, because when I end up going, like, traveling or going to jail and stuff like that, when I look at the other people, I'm like, well, who was you raised around?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Shit, like, I was raised around some, even though, it was the hood, but people was teaching us morals, principles, and shit like that. You know what I mean? The parents in the neighborhood, they whipped your ass if you was out of line. They don't do that no more.
What neighborhood was it?
Well, I started off like on American Linden, American Towers over there. But then we moved to the Bronx, then Brooklyn, then back to Sufton. You know what I mean? So there was like a lot of traveling in between, but we started off in American Towers from 76 to 87, 88.
Right.
And that was, it was a wild time back then. The 80s was crack. We was coming off of the heroin, coke into the crack.
Yeah.
So that was like a lot of the transitions that we were seeing. A lot of the shit that we was going through was really like from that people coming home from the war and all of that.
Right.
Like, we was feeling that, But
well, why was y'all moving so much?
Well, after we moved out of the Towers, my mom and pops was like splitting up. So we was in between whether who was gonna go with my mom, who was gonna go with my pops. My sister ended up going with my mom, but me and my brother stayed with family members. We went from Brooklyn with my uncle that was my father's side, to the Bronx with my mother's side.
Right.
So we kind of like, was trying to figure out.
But y'all stayed together.
Yeah,
You
but
and Ray stayed together.
Why y'all didn't stay with the moms?
Well, my mom went to Springfield with my grandmother.
Okay.
And there was just like, me and my brother, to be honest, like, I'm going to tell you, like, for me, this is just my perspective.
Okay.
We would have tore that place up. Me and my brother was just wild, like, between either fighting or just playing sports inside the house.
Ooh.
We played sports like inside the house. Basketball, football, we played it inside. We didn't just go outside. Like,
Right. You put the hanger on the door?
Yes. See? I had stayed up all night to bring that up. See, you brought it up before. I'm telling you. I thought about this.
Then the hanger make it round.
Yes. People had the nerve joints, right? We had to use the sock and the
yeah,
hanger.
yeah.
See?
Some tissue
You
on
know.
the
I'm telling you, people don't understand that was part of our training. Right, where other people had to go out and work out.
Help your shooting out though.
Help everything. Yes,
help your shooting.
yes. Imagine me and Skip as opponents every night.
Right.
Let's just say he was better than me. Right, I'm older, but let's just say he was better than me. He had to use me to get that good.
Right.
That's
You understand what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
Word.
You had to have me as an opponent to sharpen your skills. That was just
because if he
crazy.
could beat you, he felt like he could beat anybody.
Right, he could beat anybody.
That's
So
a
was
fact.
you beating them at first?
Punishing them.
Of course, right? I could imagine.
Punishing them all the way till we was like maybe 15, 16. When I played against him one-on-one one day in a park where I was beating people out their money. We was playing for money. I would spot people 4.5, game 5. All you had to do is hit the rim.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
Just hit the rim.
Wow.
My ball first. You won't get to touch the ball at all.
Damn.
He was not touching the ball. It was over. 5 shots, it was over.
When did you get that nice? That sound like you nice. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, like, we started early, right? I think the first time my dad gave us the ball, I had to been 5 and he was 4. And we had it was a fake basketball you get from going to the garden, right? We used to have that noise in it, that rice or something, that sound in it.
What the orange ones?
The
plastic
orange
joints?
ball, plastic ball.
A Voight, probably a Voight.
Yeah, we had those, and I was 5 years old. I was like a little advanced. My parents trusted me with crossing the street and stuff like that.
Latchkey kid.
Yeah, latchkey kid, exactly. So, they trusted me to cross the street. I would have to cross me and my brother to the park. My father took us one time, and after that, he said, boy, you know how to get here. From now on, you good. I'm going from Merrick and Linden across the street to to Sayers and Merrick. It's really just a diagonal strip. And I'm crossing him, and we going to the park. We'd go to the park from like 8 in the morning to 8 at night. Like we barely left. We only left.
this is like summer or something like
Yeah,
this?
summer all day long. This is what we did. Wintertime too. Like wintertime, shout out to my OG Keith Pasquale. He always tell this story of us shoveling the snow. Right? We shoveled the snow. We really just wanted to play. But we didn't understand how that was sharpening our game. Like playing on that wet floor. You get to really know how to use your footwork. And play under those circumstances. So, a lot of those things, there was natural resources that were used every day that we didn't know that was the same as somebody having a trainer to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to pay for somebody to do that.
Yeah.
We had just go to the park, throw you in the water. Like, the sharks get you, that's your ass.
That's a fact.
That's how we learned.
So when did you know you was nice? Like,
there's levels, right?
Okay.
So you get to feeling like, in your neighborhood, you nice, right?
Yeah.
But then when we had to go uptown or to Brooklyn and we getting smoked our first time there, right? I ain't gonna cap, I literally froze my first time at Young Life in Harlem at Salem Church.
take me through that, B. That sounds interesting.
So I played on the team, Young Life, right? And there was so many phenomenal kids. Later on, a lot of them went on to either be in the NBA, play college, or to be rappers.
Like who?
So you had, rest in peace, Huddy, right?
Oh,
Huddy,
wow.
he was on my team. You had Curry Thompson. He went to play in Florida. You had Kareem Reed, right? He went to play in Arkansas. We had this guy, Marquis Pilgrim, Biz, who my brother had recently mentioned on the podcast. And we're going to say this because you did not hear it from him. I told you about this, man. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Talk about it.
So we had met Marquis. I was probably 12 and Skip was 11. And I haven't seen Marquis since then till I was in prison in 02. And I seen him in Lewisburg Penitentiary. And that's 20-something years later.
Wow.
He was one of the greatest players I saw at 10 years old.
Wow.
And he was still one of the greatest. And he haven't played organized ball since then. He was in and out of prison. And he was still that nice. He was playing off of his 9-year-old, 10-year-old,
Right.
11-year-old IQ.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Still that nice.
That's crazy.
Skip talked about the story of when we went to a camp and Isaiah Thomas was there to show this kid Marquis the move. Marquis did the move and made him fall. Isaiah Thomas tried to grab onto him so he don't fall.
Nah, say it ain't
Yo,
so.
what? Say it.
I ain't gonna believe that. That shit sound
I'm only messing with you.
This kid, Marquis Pilgrim, to this day, he's still one of the greatest I've ever seen with the ball.
God
Yeah,
damn.
yeah. One of the greatest. Him and his brother Yoda. Was both tough. So my first time to get back to your question, when I felt I was nice, thought I was nice before then, and when I ran into him, Nate Reeves, Odie Reeves, all these people on the team, Brucey B, shout out to all these dudes, Zig, these dudes was like another level of nice, And I saw it and was like, okay, whoa, hold up. I froze up. But then the next week I came to practice, I was studying everything. Like I've always been a student of life.
Yeah.
So everything they did to me, I came back to Queens and did to everybody else. Punished everybody else.
That's how you
know what I mean?
learn though, man.
That's how you learn, from the people around you. You know what I mean? That was the thing when we was younger, we all fed off of each other. It wasn't like, I ain't showing you nothing. Like, we all showed each other. We talked about moves. We talked about where we been.
Yeah.
So we put each other on this shit. Today it's like every man for themselves. You know what I mean? So that was like my first time I started realizing. Once I had took those moves back, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna always just be a student of this game. And that was probably like 12 years old. I was in the 6th grade.
Yo, it's crazy you say that when you like back in the days everybody was on some just like free with sharing their knowledge of the game, because every time I hear somebody talk about the NBA back in the days, nobody was friends on the other teams and stuff like that. And nowadays everybody at the NBA level are friends. But now you're saying at the lower level, they don't share the knowledge and stuff like that. Like if you get there, you accept it in the club, but if not, you got to figure it out on your own.
That's right. You on your own.
Like that's crazy how it kind of reversed.
Levels.
Yeah. So when did you realize that Skip had it?
I mean, from day one, like, in our family, I'm going to say like this, right? When I thought I had it, I wasn't allowed to play with the kids my age.
Why not?
Because I was too far ahead of them. So with him being right up under me, he wasn't allowed to play with the kids my age.
He had to go.
So he had to go up. He had to go up 2 levels. I'm only going up 1 level.
Wow.
So he's getting a first-hand education and first-hand experience that the kids his age they can't get. It's not possible for them to get. So when he goes back to play against the kids in his grade level, it's like, why am I waiting? You know what I mean? When you watch it, you can see that his skill level, his control, his body control, was just years ahead of people his age. You know what I mean? And one time that I saw it was we played CYO. I played for St. Catherine's. That's a Catholic, youth organization, right? And we played after the younger team. So we sitting there watching his game. He played in a game where the end of the score was 35-36. We won, his team won. He had 35 out of the 36 points.
Jesus Christ.
35 out of the 36. The 1 point was a free throw my boy Reggie hit. You know?
Wow.
And we watching it, and it's like the other team goes down, scores, he comes down, scores. The other team goes down and miss, he comes down and miss. You know what I mean? It's like they just keep trading the baskets, and we on the side like, oh my God, oh yeah, and he's just like destroying, and that's when I saw like, wait, he different, way different. He had like a love for the game that I didn't have. Like I had a talent, but he really was he would cry at the end of the game if we lost. Right. And I couldn't see like a need to cry. Like, why?
That's passion.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that was a passion.
passion.
Seeing it now.
Yeah.
I played on the team with me, him, Stephon Marbury, Deshaun Holloway, bunch of us, right? And when we lost, only Skip and Stephon was crying.
Wow.
And when you look later, only them two made it to the NBA.
That's,
It sounded like they wanted it that bad.
That bad. It meant that much to them. Like the pain.
Yeah.
And for me, I didn't lose much. So I didn't really, it wasn't something to cry about. I very, very rarely lost. Most of the tournaments I played, we either lost the whole season, came back the next season, and ran the table, got the championship, or we won the championship that first year. I didn't really have moments like that.
So what kind of veered you off the path? I mean, you didn't see yourself going to the NBA, or what was it like back then?
So to be honest, what it was is the opposite. I already saw myself in the NBA. Like, you couldn't tell me I wasn't going. You couldn't tell me both of us wasn't going. And to be honest, you couldn't tell me I couldn't go in 2 sports or maybe 3.
Oh, so you
football, baseball, and basketball.
Which one you was the nicest in?
I would say football.
Really? What was you, wide receiver?
Running back.
Running back?
I was short. I didn't grow until I was in my 20s when I went to jail. I was always short. My brother and sister, they twins. They was always taller than me. Wow. Always.
Wow.
So yeah, I what veered me off really was the streets and pussy. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Pussy ain't no joke. It ain't no fucking joke. Like, I was on my path, you know what I mean? I had childhood trauma that I had never had dealt with,
Like what?
Child molestation, shit like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Somebody tried to grab me and rape me in the building that I was living in American Towers.
wow.
So, yeah, it wasn't, at that time, you're a kid and you don't feel like you got raped or anything, so you don't think there's nothing to say. So I didn't say anything, you know what I mean? And then getting in the streets.
Hold on, before we get off that, something happened, like you said somebody pulled you. Something happened to you, or somebody just tried to attempt to assault you?
So, tell this story here. I never really,
Take your time, and
Take your time,
take your deep
man.
breath and all that. And
See
know
me
this is
laughing,
tough,
that's
man.
a coping mechanism. But, we was to play, like, tag and round up in the building. So you running up and down these stairs, right?
Yeah.
And when you get to the top, there's like a turn and then another turn, right? Till you get to the roof. So when you turn the first turn, it's pitch black. You don't see anything. I didn't think to look because I'm running, somebody, chasing you, or you run and you trying to hide. When I turned around to hide, I got my back to this space right here.
Yeah.
and I'm peeking around to see if somebody coming up the stairs, and I feel a chokehold. Wow. From behind. Crazy, like frantic, you know, struggling, trying to get away. And like, I could feel them grabbing for my shorts. Like,
oh my God. It was a man.
Yeah, it couldn't be no woman.
Yeah, not with no
not
tight
that aggressive.
Yeah,
like,
not that aggressive.
chokehold.
Yeah.
Did you find?
But-
Did you know who the person was?
No, I never saw when I got away. I just took off and just, ran down the stairs. I never got to see the person. So the funny thing about that whole scenario is, could you imagine that you probably walked in the building past this person every fucking day? Like, that's crazy.
Did you have a feeling who you think it might have been? Like, I think it's this dude here. Nah, you don't even know.
Because you never, at that time, people wasn't like that. You didn't see it. You're a kid.
Gotcha.
You think everything is rosy. You got rose-colored glasses. You don't think there's something
And the ill shit,
heinous
if it
like
wasn't
that.
you, it would have been somebody else. That's the ill shit.
Yeah, it's probably somebody else that didn't get away.
Just a
Yeah.
fact.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How many people didn't get away?
Did you tell your parents?
Nah, I ain't tell my parents till I was like maybe 30.
Wow.
Yeah, so when people see people mention things later,
Right.
and people like, yo, why they didn't say nothing or whatever? Because you can't even
traumatized,
process.
yeah.
You trauma. That's traumatizing.
yeah,
you know what I
it
mean?
is.
You don't even process it.
Yeah.
Like, and it wasn't just that moment. I was used to pack bags at the supermarket.
Yeah.
I had a lady, I help her with the groceries to her house. And when I get, it's a house
Shopping
where you
cart?
can't lift that shopping
Yeah.
cart up the stairs. So I got to bring the bags out one by one or two by two. When I get inside, she got a knife under my chin.
What? Wow.
Word?
Yeah. As soon as I pull that last bag in, it's
Wow.
like frozen. Like, nigga, lay down. Like,
Oh.
and like, so like there was the streets, and then dealing with, newly finding virginity, like losing your virginity and all that. Like, now it's a new world. Like,
Yeah.
I grew up, like I said, playing sports. You don't have the identity crisis that
Yeah.
other children go through. They
Yeah.
trying to figure out who they gonna be or what they gonna do. It was already set for me.
Yeah.
You're an athlete. So while the other kids is like confused, I'm running around okay. I'm happy, and
Yeah.
then this happens, and it's like, I don't want to be that person. Now I want to lash out on everybody. You know what I mean? And when you're in the streets selling drugs, that's a perfect space
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
Like, anything can happen. You could just shoot.
Yeah.
They like, it's drugs. Like, so nobody noticed me going left. It's just normal to them. You know what I mean? Nobody noticed that something could have happened to that boy.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
That's a fact. You will for saying
Yeah,
it.
definitely.
Word.
So
Yeah.
after those two incidents happened, like, the world looks different, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, well, let me go back
Go
to
ahead,
another
go
thing
ahead.
too. When, like I said, when I was 6 years old, they trusted me, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I was a little advanced. So I used to go to school from American Linden all the way to Springfield at 6 years old by myself to
Wow.
elementary school in the first grade.
Wow.
Today, you look at something like that, you couldn't even fathom
Yeah,
putting a
you
child
wouldn't,
on a
no.
city bus
Hell no.
at 6 years old. But it was okay at that time.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And the shit I was exposed to, I was like more advanced than I should have been.
Yeah.
You know? So with that part, then there's that. Now it's like, okay, now I think I'm still going to the NBA. Like, nobody could tell me that I can't,
Yeah.
right? And I'm failing, classes in school, so I don't get to play. But there's, at this time back then, you had like people like Sweet Pea, Lloyd Daniels, right? When you played basketball, they passed you in classes and they helped you get along. So I was one of those kids,
Okay.
and I was really, really smart, but I just didn't want to
apply.
pay attention in this class. Like, it was boring to me, you know what I mean? So sometimes I failed certain classes. Other classes I super excelled, And then, so I was saying that you couldn't tell me just because I'm failing the classes that I'm not going to the league because
Yeah.
somebody's going to help me,
Oh, okay.
I had different people in my corner that could get me in different things, but then I had that emotional immaturity because of what was happening. So I'm lashing out, and I end up shooting 2 people and cutting one before I go to college in my senior year.
Whoa. How do you go from ball to shooting?
To doing that, yes. That was like the talk around the hood. Like, what happened to him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It seemed like a sudden thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, why did he throw his life away? Right. But it was something that was building that I didn't get checked.
Yeah.
You know?
Those incidents weren't being addressed. You didn't. There was no therapist to let you to unpack all that stuff. You didn't bring it to your parents, and you know it's gonna come out
some way.
So you know what I'm saying? It's gonna come out one way or another, and you know I'm sure. So when you think of that, how do you feel about the people who your attackers and stuff like that? Or were you angry at them? Did it come out? Was that like some of the resentment that was coming out at the time? Did you want to hurt them or?
Well, you know, now I actually had therapy, right? I worked for ACS, Child Protective Services, for 11 years. Yeah. So when I first started there, by my 3rd year, I had a couple incidences where I was crying on cases. Yeah. I was taking kids to SVU. It was a special victims unit, but I didn't associate it with law and order.
Okay, SVU.
I just, for some reason, you know, that's the trauma. It blocked that part out. Yeah. And one day, I'm with a kid and I'm talking Spanish with one of the caseworkers. You know, I have been practicing, learning, like really all my life, but I practiced a lot.
That's those dope, 3 years. Yo. That's fucking dope.
So we in there talking about lunch, donde quiero a hueso, where we gonna have lunch, you know. And then in the process, we picked up a child from the hospital. He's 5 years old. And the doctor said, listen, his father brought him in for a physical. He's going to the 1st grade. And he told me to check his butt for warts. He said, for bumps. And he said when he checked it, it was warts. He said, no, those ain't bumps. Somebody's having anal sex with this kid and giving him herpes.
Right.
Oh my God, man.
So, you know, the caseworker, I'm a driver, right? I'm a felon. I don't got no, you know, degree to be a social worker, but I'm a driver. But because me and her have been talking so much in Spanish and getting familiar, she wants me to walk with her in the hospital. So we get in the hospital, you know, I'm cleared to be there so I could hear the case. He's telling us, you know, about the father. Then we get downstairs, we go pick up the father and the son from somewhere else, and we get them in the car. Now they hear me talking to her in Spanish, and the kid is behind me. I'm driving, he's sitting here, the father's sitting right here, she's sitting where you sitting. So I'm driving, we pull up to SVU, and then he realizes now it's summertime, I got a t-shirt on, muscles pumping, and he looks and he says, ayúdame. He grabs onto my neck, you know, from behind the seat. He's like, ayúdame, help me. Because he realized this is a precinct. He don't, and the father's the one doing it. He don't want to go. He thinking something.
The little boy is saying that.
That's
right.
Yeah, so that was like I started crying, and they started writing it in the notes. You know, Alston's crying in the you know, in front of the client. Happened a couple more times. The director called me in the office. Hey, Alston, man, you got, you know, anything you want to deal with? Like, cause we need to know if you can still, you know, participate at this job. So I ended up going to therapy. So with the therapy, I say, you know, I was able to release like guilt, animosity, you know what I mean? Because I it's not my burden to carry. Yeah. You know what I mean? I was wearing it because I think if something was my fault. Right. But their sickness ain't got nothing to do with me. Right. You know what I mean? So once I found that, it was like, oh, now it's the release. And my therapist was telling me like, man, well, I had a conversation with her and she was like, you know, you was probably setting people up, bleeding on the people that didn't cut you. You was waiting for somebody to do something to you so you could lash out. And I was overboard, like hitting a ant with a sledgehammer.
Right, what do you mean? You know what I mean? Is that metaphorically you're talking about or literal?
Yeah, metaphorically.
Oh, okay.
Metaphorically, like, you know, if you, like, I used to relish in the fact that I didn't start trouble. Okay. So whoever started with me, you get in the business. Right, right. You know what I mean? Right. But that's not a way to live. I know exactly because everybody's human. Yeah. They're going to make mistakes at the very least. Right. Yeah. So you're going to fight every person.
As soon as they do it. Right.
And that's why I ended up the way I, you know, going to jail, guns, shooting, like robbing, cutting, and then end up going to jail, and then in jail just made it worse because now you there with a whole bunch of other people
Like
who got
that,
the
right.
same sickness as you.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Y'all all just angry.
Yeah.
You find some way to justify your
Yeah,
actions.
justify
right,
your
right,
actions.
right, right.
This nigga fucked with me. I'm in jail. I can't take no losses. Like, you know, that growth comes later, but a lot of people don't get the therapy, you know, that I had. Like, I was fortunate to have to be there. I was working for the city, and it was mandatory, mandated to do it. You know, if they would have asked me, I was doing that shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
And one of the, I want to put this out there for people when y'all watching, man. Like, there was this one incident where they was trying to figure out my triggers, right?
Yeah.
So I had to go to I went to one therapist, and it was a group full of people, like an AA group. And somebody stands up and says, my addiction is prepubescent boys. You know, prepubescent boys before they hit puberty.
If this is
You know
done
what I mean?
purposely to see,
Yeah, like but these is their shit. This is what they
Okay.
do. You know,
wow,
they there
some
for their
real shit.
therapy.
Wait, you
I'm
really
here
heard
for
somebody
my
say that? I
therapy.
think you just making an example.
Yeah, no, that's what he
wow,
said. And I'm
right.
sitting there, then the next person says, I like girls. I'm like, whoa.
right. You ain't in the right place.
I don't need to be here. Like, you know, I get up and they like, hey, no, this is what you're here for. You're here to see if you got triggers. Nigga, fuck you and the triggers. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to sit next to him. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I got to another guy, and this guy has a chalkboard. And he puts the word therapist on the chalkboard. And he says, yo, how does that make you feel? I'm like you about to invade my brain. Like, you know? He says, well, how does this make you feel? He slit the chalkboard real hard, boom. And he put a line through the E and the R. So when you do that, you divide therapist into the rapist.
Oh, the rape. Right.
Yeah, like, see, you didn't even catch
Right,
that.
right,
You know what I mean?
no, right.
Yeah. So that triggered me, and I, you know, choked them out. Like, you know, yo, come on, stop. You from the city. This is what they here for. Like,
Wow.
like, oh, shit. But I couldn't go back to him because I couldn't face him. Like, I couldn't stand in front of him knowing that was my trigger.
Yeah.
And he, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it took me another couple therapists to get comfortable. And then when I bought into it, it's like, oh shit, this is amazing.
Right. So that's
It's
the problem
amazing.
though, man. Because
You know what I mean?
who has that much time to go find all these 50
Yeah,
therapists
yeah.
and the money to keep doing that?
And the money.
And
See,
to
it was
find
free
somebody
for me.
good enough to find those triggers.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, you had to find a therapist who you comfortable with to even
Right,
accept
'cause
their
It'd be a regular
tactics.
conversation. If not,
Yeah.
right? You just
Yep.
keep wasting his money.
Yep.
That's
Wow. Take me to that shooting part, man. How did that go down? Shooting two people is crazy. I don't know too many
Right.
people who do that.
And cut somebody.
Hand cut somebody.
cut 'em.
Yeah, and rest in peace, man. Raman Thomas. He ended up being my cousin. He ended up being related to me.
The person you shot?
Person I cut.
The person you cut?
Yeah.
Wow.
Ended up being a family member. That's wild.
Wow.
Like, yeah, my dad was like, yo, you ain't gonna believe who I seen at the funeral.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, but yeah, so this happened 1993. I'm a senior in high school. You know, thinking like, yo, what's my options? Because I'm not playing, I don't have, you know, offers. So I'm thinking my next option is junior college, you know, so I'm trying to put out feelers for a junior college or figure out something, you know. And my coaches at the time, you know, I had got kicked out of August Martin. Now I was in Springfield with Fila. And, you know, he's like, yo, I could, you know, I got connections. I could probably get you to a junior college, or if you just try it on your own, you might make it, you know. So people still, like I said, was still
still
behind
looking
me,
out,
out for me, you know, that cared. But I was in the streets and I was doing robberies at this time, you know. We was running up in stash houses and robbing drug dealers and shit like that, you know. Me and Ramen, we was under Preem Team legend Chauncey Garby. To me, he was a legend, you know, because when I first started playing basketball and, you know, traveling, my homie took me to Baisley to play against some dudes, and killing them in Baisley, I ended up hearing about Garby's name, you know, in the process of Preem Team and yada yada. So to later on, years later, to be in his presence and be fucking with him, you know, doing robberies, it was like, oh shit, this a fucking legend. You know what I mean? I'm like that, I'm amazed, you know? So at that time, you know, me and Ram, we was under him, so he would, you know, put us on to who to rob, his peoples, you know, or not people, but people that he knew, you know, who had bread. So he would send us, you know, on these missions. And in the process, I was also selling drugs out of town. I was going to North Carolina. And I went away to North Carolina and I was dating these two girls. So one, she lived on the Merrick side and the other was living in Laurelton. So the one in Laurelton the one in Merrick wanted to beat up the one in Laurelton. So you know how Jamaica Ave was after school back then. All the schools used to meet up on Jamaica Ave.
Yeah.
So that was, you know, the conflict. When you met up, you saw somebody you had beef with, they just handled their beef. So in the process, you know, they was gonna get into it, and, you know, one ran and called me, yo, listen, yo, this girl was gonna jump me, you gotta do something about this, and you gotta get your bitches in line, and you know, all that type of shit. So I'm out of town when it happens. I'm in North Carolina. When I come back, I'm like, you know, let me take care of this. I'm thinking, you know, I'm 17.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, you think you know everything, you know. I think I'm gonna handle this. I know how to finesse these females, but I was wrong. I went to one to tell her, yo, listen, you gotta stop doing that. And the other one went to my boy. It's like, yo, look, the girl said she gonna bring some people over here to shoot up my house. I need you to come over, bring the guns, and, you know, hold me down. So my homie, the one, Ra, who we was doing the robberies, he says, yeah, I'm gonna hold you down. You know, he's looking out for me.
Yeah.
You know, he don't know the other one. He never met her. So he's looking out for me, saying I'm gonna hold her down, you know, while he's out of town. So he brings the guns, he goes, make a long story longer, they go over there, and then she's irate, like, no, they coming, you gotta go do something. And she got the address somehow and sent him and somebody else, my other dude, another dude that I knew, and they went over there and shot up her house. So on my way there, I get there, the family's going crazy. Yo, you bringing this stuff to my house? Look at this stuff. So, you know, funny thing was her little brother gives me a grenade, right? A shrapnel grenade. Yeah. Yeah, this is crazy.
What the fuck is going on in Southside? A grenade?
He had a shrapnel grenade from his grandfather. And he gave it to me, you know what I mean? And I had a calico, you know, like I'm armed up. I had a calico with 100 shots in it. You know, this is before people was even really like, you know, having calicos. So, you know, I'm ready. And I get in the car, I get a cab, get in the car, I'm going looking for these dudes now. So when I get out the car, you know, Rochdale, it's like the spin, like that cul-de-sac.
Right.
So when I get first there, I tell the cab, look, I'm gonna meet you on the other side. You just get out, I'm gonna walk this way, you know, and I'm gonna do my thing. So I get out. When I get out, I noticed everybody starts scattering. So that means, to me, you knew it was me. Because why would you run? Yeah. So I start cutting, dang, 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 dang. Hit the glass and all of that, you know, running, and not sure if I hit him or one of them, but I'm still looking for them. So I go in the building, and I run through the back, and I'm like, well, let's wait. Let's see if they come upstairs to go to the apartment. So I hear some people, but I can't hear no males. So I run up, you know, I say, fuck it. Finally, I go up to the crib, knock on the door. And finally, they there. It's him and the other dude. We go in, and they like, nah, I didn't do nothing. I say, look, come outside for a second, you know. And, you know, we go outside, and I, you know, do something I regret, you know, because, like I said, it ended up being a family member of mine, you know what I mean? But I didn't understand why he would take somebody else to go shoot up the girl house, knowing, you know what I mean? Even if you didn't know her, you know I'm still messing with both of them. So either way, your loyalty is to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was where I got angry, you know, and I lost it, you know, and that jacked my whole life up.
Right.
Because after that, you got arrested.
And I was in jail.
How long did you do for that?
I ended up doing 5.5
Damn.
at 17.
17.
So I went in there with 2.5 though, but like I said, going in there and meeting the other dudes that's fostering this stupidity of mine.
Yeah, right.
I joined in with them, and now we all going crazy. And I turned 2.5. I got hit at the board with 2, so 4.5. The next, I think I made my next board, if I'm not mistaken. Or did I get hit with a year? Yeah. But I end up, being in the hole, going through all that stupidity and still not learning.
Yeah.
I came home. I was only home for 2 months, and was right back. I had a robbery.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Still ain't get it out your blood.
Still ain't get it out. You know what I mean?
When you was up there with like OG Mac and them at the like inception of
Yeah, when it first started, right. So when they was coming through, I had already been there for a minute. You know what
Okay.
I mean? You got like, I don't know who passed away, but I think OG Todd did or whatever. But Tank had all of them. They was there when I was an adolescent, and then they became adults. So they went over to adults. So, and this is one of the things, there's a guy named Saint Lass. He does a podcast or channel on YouTube where he does all of the jail stories, right? And I always heard the story of the blood started because there was Puerto Ricans taking advantage of, black people. In the adolescence, that wasn't happening. You know what I mean? I don't know that in the adults, right? Because when I got there, we get to see the dope fiends, what we call the dope fiends and the crackheads. That was mostly the adults that was there. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I can't speak for them. I wasn't there to see whether they was taking advantage of them. But that ain't the story. For the way they paint the story is that this was the entire Rikers Island.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. You know what I mean? It was not like that in adolescence. In the adolescence, we was running shit. Black people was running shit, but there was also respect for different, people. There was different races, different cliques, different gangs or whatever you want to call it. But I didn't see that,
Okay.
We was the ones taking advantage of anything.
Okay.
You know what I mean? When they talk about people like Tankhead was somebody who was what we call a Bing monster. You know what I mean? He stayed in the Bing mostly. You know what I mean? So that means he was putting in work. Like he was doing something to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not saying to dispute or dispel anything they were saying, but that's not the entire story. You know what I mean? That wasn't the entire Rikers Island.
Yeah.
And then
It's almost like a blanketed statement, but there's more intricacies and stuff like that wasn't covered when they say that.
And in their defense, the adolescence is a small part of it. So maybe I'm only thinking about a small part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The adults there's many different buildings. The adolescents is only C74. So you had, you know what I mean, the Beacon, HDM, you had all these different buildings, 95, 73, you had all these different buildings. So, maybe that's the larger picture, but just because you said at that time, that was the start of it. And the young people was the ones who took it the most, and fuck that, fuck all the Puerto Ricans, fuck all of that, you know what I mean? And I just, want to put that out there. Like,
okay. So it had to be an exhilarating time in jail. I don't mean to say that like it's fun, but it was a lot going on in there, man. And to be in that environment, that definitely had to toughen you up real fast. As you would say, even when you was a kid, you was always an adult, advanced. That had to advance your criminal expertise.
So, but Ramar, let me ask you this though. Out of all that time though, you wasn't focused on ball for nothing?
Well, like in there?
Yeah, basically like in and out.
Was I playing? Yeah. So that's I played in there, starting from Rikers Island though. The first time I really played was like, or really had to go through something playing was in the Bing, Rest in peace, Quintel and O'Neal. I was there for like a couple days and I didn't go outside yet. So they happened to come through like, oh shit, yo, Ramar, Ron, yo, what you doing in here? they got excited because there's Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, they all going against each other. They excited to see me. They like, oh my God, we about to go crazy. Y'all don't know, my nigga in here, he played. Like, we about to, so when we got out, they like, yo, come outside, man. They get the police to get on, and the police letting me come out early and warm up. They want to see how good I am, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I go out there and put on a show, like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, like, it was exhilarating, and then you get a pass when you play ball in jail, too, you know what I mean? Really? Sometimes, you know what I mean? And, like, niggas let me do some things that they wouldn't let other people do, you know what I mean? Because I play ball. So, yeah, I focused on ball a little bit, but not as a hobby, not as something like, oh, I'm going to get out and I'm going to make it to the league, you know?
So when you was locked up, where was Skip?
So when I first got locked up, Skip was in high school, right? Because it was my senior year, and he was a junior. So that next year, he's a senior, and I'm up north now. Yeah. So he's I'm hearing all of the talk and everything. But I'm still thinking like, I jacked my time off, so a lot of my hope and everything is like on him. Yeah. You know? So I'm, praying in jail, like he gotta do it. Like he's the savior, because I messed it up. He gotta be the one, Right. I'm in there playing, but I'm really feeling like I gotta really try to connect with him somehow and tell him something.
That's what I was gonna ask you. How was y'all? Because he probably was mad at you for getting locked up, basically, right?
Yeah. So I didn't know that then.
Oh, that's what I was asking.
Yeah. So while, like I was saying, I'm trying to reach out, connect to him. He ain't trying to hear me because I'm only a year older. Yeah. So he has an expectation of me to be better. Yeah. So that is a disappointment for him. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So at the time I couldn't see it, but there was a disconnect, and that's what it was. You know what I mean?
Do you think a little bit he still feel that same resentment a little bit still now?
I don't know, because I would like to think that he grew. So I think like from the resentment from back then, and he probably see now like he definitely changed his life and tried to be more positive. He see, the work I did with my kids, working, and just the person I became.
I would say, did you have the conversation you're having with us about growing up? Did you and him have that conversation so he could have a better understanding of some of the reasons why your direction took the turns that it did?
Nah.
Y'all never talk like that?
Nah, ever. And that's why when you said, to have us both here together, right. That was the thing that clicked for me.
That would have been dope. Right.
That was dope. To actually have that here and to see it on camera.
He was trying to do that.
Right.
He can still do that, bro.
He agreed. He said he gonna come. He definitely said he gonna come.
Yeah.
But, it's definitely a conversation I think we should have, but we had a type of family where if when something happened, we didn't really just talk about it. You just, you all right? You good? What you doing this weekend? And that's your way of
every black family. You don't talk about that shit. We just move on like nothing happened. Yeah, you all right? You good, right?
You coming to the party this weekend? Yeah, you coming to mom's house?
But, every black family.
Yeah.
And I say that because I think that's important because, you hold these, you get mad at people, but you really don't know what this person went through. And the more you understand what this person goes through, that anger subsides to me. You know what I'm saying? Because even I used to be mad at things, but once you know the truth behind it, you can't get mad at that no more because it is what it is, and now it makes sense. Because I'm assuming if I'm 17, he's 18, he's getting into trouble. He's like, yo, you fucking up. You good. What are you doing? But he don't know what type of emotional trauma you dealing with as opposed to what he's dealing with, where that type of stuff didn't happen to him. So he can see clearly where you got things that's unrequited. You haven't addressed none of that type of stuff. So yeah, it comes out in different ways.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you get out. Is this the time when he's doing and one?
Well, this is the time when he's in Ventura in junior college, right? He's in Ventura and he just met I just heard about, rather, I don't know when he met him, but I just my mother's just writing me and they're sending me, articles and stuff, and he's meeting Jerry Tarkanian. Well, to just to add this one in there, so I'm in jail and I'm playing, like you asked me, am I playing in jail? So I'm in jail killing him, right? And a dude comes in there and says, yo, you play like my man Skip to Malou. And I'm like, yo, who the fuck is that? Like,
Oh, wow, you didn't even know that.
That's
crazy. That's crazy.
We haven't, he hasn't been to see me in a while and we haven't really talked because of all the stuff he's dealing with. So at the time, I didn't know that name. There was a name he was calling him before I left. So I hadn't seen him play in 4 years. That name was Energizer.
Energizer.
So he says to me, I said, yo, where he play at? He said, the Rucker. I said, Rucker? Well, he got to know my brother. He said, who your brother? I said, the Energizer. He looked at me like I'm stupid. Where you from? I said, Queens. He said, nigga, you from Queens. You don't know about the Rucker.
Right.
I said, nigga, I played in the Rucker. What you talking about? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He said, nigga, you don't know nothing about the Rucker? I said, yo, if he nice, he got to know my brother, the Energizer. Fast forward like a week later or 2 weeks, I go on a visit and I get the article. So, wait, no, I skipped another part. So wait, shout out to my nigga Spook and Charlie Rock because they was there with me at that time. And this was Bear Hill. Yeah, so they even say like, yo, you out here trying to copy your brother, you know what I mean? And I'm like, well, how can I copy him when I haven't seen him play in 4 years?
Yeah. Right.
Then I go on the visit and get the article, and I was like, so I got to bring this to the yard, right? Because he ain't going to believe me if I just go to the yard and say, yo, the nigga you talking about is my brother. Yeah. So I'm going to the yard with a newspaper article, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, yo, bro, like, listen to my brother. And it hits me right then, like, wait, how the fuck can I be copying him?
Right.
Like, you got to be copying me.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm like, but when I think about it, it wasn't so much of him copying me. If you ask me, I think it was like a nod. Like, you know what I mean? And then also we came up being taught by the same people and copying the same people. Same
Would have
pattern.
evolved into that anyway.
Yeah. Right. So, at this time, people didn't see the crossover. I had been hitting people with the crossover for years, you know what I mean? But this was new because it was on a stage. You see Allen Iverson and them doing it in college and all of that, and now everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
But this is something we was doing years before that, So, I'm there and I'm, doing my thing. I'm playing. And that was another thing I wanted to come here and talk about. There was a lot of people that I played against in jail that was tough. Right? There was people that, like me, that didn't make it, that was tough. There was so many of them,
Wow.
And when you said, bringing us together on a podcast, it gave me ideas about something that I want to do, a podcast that I want to do to talk about those players.
Right.
That's dope.
Right.
That's
really
dope.
Like,
That's
you
real
saw that
dope.
for me.
That's dope.
Right.
I got names and people that they don't, talk about now, from back then, like Andre Lambert. People never heard of him. Andre Lambert, this dude was so tough, he could dribble without bending his knees.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yes, he could move through the traffic without bending his knees.
Wow.
That's how
Somebody gotta
tough
see
Andre
that.
Lambert was,
Sound
man.
crazy. Right.
Word.
He was ill, and Andre Lambert was 12 when I was 9. You know what I mean? And he was homeless, selling drugs. 12-year-old kid. This nigga was nice, man. Andre Lambert, man. Darnell, when Corey D say the rhyme, that was my man Darnell. That kid Darnell was another tough, man. Him and Lumps used to go at it. Man, it's just so many names. True Carter, BJ Carter, Brian Walker, Collins Walker, Deshaun Holloway, Shaheem Holloway. These are people that I grew up, under or playing against. Steel sharpens steel. This is why I was so nice. You know what I mean? People like Mike, you know what I mean? These people, like, they never took it easy on me. Mike was
That was a crazy one too.
Like, yeah,
I let you pass with that. That was crazy what you just said. I ain't gonna say that was
It was in pocket, right? We had a moment,
he was doing so good.
But yeah, those things made us tough. And like I was saying about the childhood, kids today don't have the opportunity to go up against other kids like that.
Yeah.
You go to a park where it's 1 or 2 people that's good. When we went to the park, it was 7, 8 of them niggas. Oh, like, you know what I mean? Shit. Like, what was you gonna do? You was gonna have to get nice and you know what I mean? And figure it out. You know what I mean? But nowadays they don't. They don't have that, and that's why I say you can't even replicate that. You can't even bring it back.
Nah,
you can't. They'll never have that experience that we had. You know what I mean?
Hold on. They gotta be quiet, man.
Yeah, we got it.
I'm all out of pocket, but I tell you, I don't play it no more. I don't play pause no more.
Right.
Because I know that's the other people thinking of it. You know what I mean? It ain't in my head. When I say sausage, I'm talking about food. Like, you know what I mean? I know what's going on.
You have to go back there. Like,
I don't know what y'all doing, but that's on y'all. That is
how
on
you gonna
y'all.
say that's on y'all? I don't know what y'all doing. But that's on y'all.
Y'all got to think of, and what fucks me up about that is like, whose penis are you thinking about?
My God!
It ain't mine. Is it yours or is mine? Like, my nigga. Hey, you say sausage and you think, hey, wait, my nigga. Oh shit! Like, that shit get crazy.
It's getting crazy.
It hit different.
You unpack it, it's crazy.
It hit different.
You turn it into a penis game.
Everything is a penis game. Ain't doing this all day long. Oh man. Yo, man, you can't go to the doctor. You can't.
No, I'm with you.
Oh man.
I don't know. We had a phenomenal childhood, man.
Yeah,
and
that sounds crazy.
Players that I played against, man. I think like that's really what made me great because I played against so many different players. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I played against who was well, I wanted to make sure I mentioned the twins, Terrence and Stephon. Springfield, yes, sir. I played against them when I was 9 and 10, and they was like 12. But this was only in the summer, right? In the tournament in 72, 113 precinct PAL. But my whole entire school year, I spent working out just to get back so that I could go against them too.
Oh wow!
You know what I mean?
Dedication right there.
Me and Skip, like all year we talked. We gonna kill these niggas when we get there.
Did y'all kill him?
What? Man, shout out to Larry Cave. I don't know if y'all know Larry Cave. Larry Cave is like he's like one of the greatest players I ever seen in my life. Larry Cave. You know what I mean? He coached us. We always talk about this run we had one summer. Me, Rafer, Shaheem, and Deshaun. That's 4 guards. 4 little dudes. And we had Stymie. Stymie was our center power forward. Like,
right. He
did all the dirty work.
He did all the dirty work. We went crazy in damn near every tournament that we played in. The year before that, we probably lost a couple tournaments. But we came back that year, we tore everybody up, man. Everybody. Like it was crazy. You couldn't touch me, Sean, Shaheem, and Skip at the same time. Nah. The ball didn't even go around that much. Like,
Wow. Let me ask you this: what was it like when you found out Skip went to the NBA?
Man, I was in jail.
Oh, yeah, about to.
I was in jail.
Wow.
It was 98, and crazy. We didn't get to stay out because he went second round, so it was after lock-in. But the police, they was all COs, they was all cool, they know him, they know the Rucker, they go to the Ruckers, they had the Slam magazine, they had all that,
Right.
They know, so, they watching it, and they, they letting me know, like, yo, you good now, you gonna be rich, like, and the whole jail, the whole tier, everybody's banging on they,
Oh, nice.
kicking the door, celebrating for me, It was a lot of love, like, everybody wanted to see Skip make it because he come from where we come from,
That's a fact.
When did you get out of jail?
Well, so I got out the first time in 96.
Yeah.
And I was back 2 months later.
Jesus Christ.
I got out in 98. And then I went back in like 2000. I had a federal conspiracy, a check scam.
Jesus.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and that was like the breaking point where I, knew like this was the end. The judge, he said to me, I don't know if you smart or you lucky, but you chose one of the only crimes that I can't give you life for having a shooting in your past. Some crimes that you commit, they give you what's called the enhancement. And they could give you more time. They enhance your time. No matter what you get, they can raise it 5 years or life based off your past crime.
Oh, wow.
So for me, like when he said that, it was like the wake-up call, like, wait, if I would have just chosen a regular money order instead of a postal money order to duplicate, then I would have been in jail for the rest of my life.
Wow. That's crazy.
Crazy. So I was like, oh shit, like, I ain't doing nothing. Like,
Wow.
That was
you
it.
can't get me to commit a felony, like, at all. Like, I don't want to be on the phone. People start talking, yo, I'm about to hit a lick. Click. Like, this is way before the 6ix9ine. Like, I was like, oh no. Like, I don't want to be nowhere near none of that kind of stuff. I can't even I can't afford to slip up. With other people, they got a chance. Like, even in relationships, right? A dude argue with his wife, right? And he in the street. Somebody sees that and they call the police. They think they're about to fight. The police come. He never been arrested. They might, talk about it. But me, I'm a career criminal.
Yeah.
When they come when just talk to me, I gotta go see CCIU, the Career Criminal Investigation Unit. Like, they ain't just letting me go. So when I'm dealing with a female, it's a tough relationship for me because I have to use a short fuse. I can't give her no second chances. She don't get to make mistakes with me. You know what I mean? It's difficult to be in a relationship with me because I don't have that luxury to, go through it where other people have to, they can see it through. Well, I gotta run. I gotta walk away fast. You know what I mean? I could be on a date, a first date. This girl, this happened to me. I met her on Tinder. She walks in singing Cardi B. I done ordered for her, blah, 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 and all this stuff. She walks in singing that Cardi B shit. I put my coat on, left her with the plate, with both our plates.
Wow.
Now she got to pay for both of them. You know what I mean? Because, sorry, I don't even have that luxury. Because if I get in something, it's going to be the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And that singing Cardi B, show me where your mom was at.
Show me where your mind at. Right. And if you can't turn it off for 1 second when you're meeting your first time, this your first impression.
Yeah. Right.
If I don't matter that much, I can't wait till later when we locked in.
Yeah.
You're gonna cost me my life. Right now, you're only costing me this dinner if I pay for it.
Yeah.
But later on, it'll be my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's real.
I don't have that luxury.
Word.
So when you finally got out, was Rafer still in the game? Rafer was still in the game, right?
The street game?
NBA.
Well, Well, he was just getting drafted,
Yeah.
And then that's when I caught the federal case. Right after he got drafted, right after he was already his first year, first rookie season done. That's when I caught the case. But he had got, he was in the second round, so it wasn't the big contract that where everybody could relax. We ain't got to do nothing, Mom could have a house and all that. It wasn't that contract. So me being, me, I'm like, shit, I'm a grind. I'm not going to ask for no money. You know what I mean? And he can't give me what what can change my life. And also he was, mindful of how he had to carry himself. You know what I mean? You got ethics clauses in your contract.
Right,
you can't, do certain things. And another thing people don't know about when you go to the NBA, right? When you first get drafted, people don't know this. but they make them turn off their phones for 3 days. You are not allowed to talk to your family members. You got one family member you could pick, you know. Usually it's your mother. But when you turn your phone back on after them 3 days, the person who was calling you the most, left all of them wild-ass messages while that's going to be the person they tell you to cut off.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Because if that person can't wait 3 days, they ain't right. Like, you know what I mean? They're going to be a detriment to you. So it's something that they go through, you know what I mean? It's really to help them, teach them how to navigate, you know, through this newfound wealth and fame.
They never the same no more after that. You're a ball player.
You're a ball player. Could you imagine? Like, you can't even trust nobody. Every female you meet, they automatically...
You don't even know what... Yeah, right.
You never have a legit relationship because you don't know what they here for.
That's ill.
That's ill.
Yeah, he had a lot to deal with, you know, so I had to go through... I went through stages of like, man, why you ain't helping me? To, oh my God, now I see this shit. It's crazy. You know what I mean? Getting to hang out with him and talk to other people like T-Mac and L.O., hanging out with them and their family members.
I need to hear a story, B. You can't be on this show without an NBA story, B. I need a story, man. You know, not a shocking story, but just my introduction to knowing things is not what you think it is because we don't have that money. We not there. We all got an expectation of what we think it should be.
Right.
You know, what people should do. But I was hanging out, we was at a party, and it was LO party in Hollywood. And I'm hanging out with one of his cousins and we always linked up, and he would always get weed for me, you know what I mean? Because, you know, they didn't smoke and I smoked, so he would be the one, Shaka would be the one that I would link up with. I couldn't wait to meet. So I'm here with LO and Skip, but the whole time they over here partying like, yo, where the fuck is Shaka at? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I need this weed, like, you know what I mean? But, you know, when he come, we kicking it and like, yeah, man, things ain't going. He said, yo, just relax, man. You know, things, the way they move is different. And he put me on, and when Skip got the contract, things was different. You know what I mean? He definitely was like, yo, what you need? Yo, here, go here, you know, do this. But it wasn't like the money that I was like, yo, you know, you hearing millions. My first think is like, why I can't just get one? You got 29. Shit, you got 29. I just need one. Like, you know?
They take about 50%.
50% on taxes.
Yeah,
right?
for
You know
real.
what I mean? Then, if you got kids, you got child support. So that's less that. You know, then it's like, God damn, my nigga.
Then it's the agents.
The agent, the girls, the lifestyle, the cars, the trip. It's like, oh shit, man, I feel for you now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I understand, I get it. You know what I mean? But you ain't gonna get it until you actually going through it. You know what I mean? And that's a lot of things in life, you know? You know, I look at like my dad, he was going through drugs, right? At the time, we looking at him like, what's wrong with you? Like, you know, it's drugs. But when I went to jail, I had to go through ASAT, and I was taught the correlation that your addiction doesn't have to be drugs. You could be addicted to gambling.
Anything.
You could be addicted to pussy. You could be, today, niggas addicted to scrolling. You know what I mean? Just doing this.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Just going like this is, it's you know, it's an addiction. Like, you know what I mean? Anything could be addiction. So, you know, it gave me a different outlook on it. You know, I didn't look at my dad like, oh, something's wrong. I look like, oh shit, we the same, nigga. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm smoking weed, and this weed, I'm supposed to get a job. I done fucked up a job. Like, you done fucked up the same thing. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, so you kind of humanized them after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, nah, this ain't just a regular.
Thought. He's just going through the same things that I'm going through.
You said you had some issues with Skip story on another podcast. Well, shout out to It Is What It Is. You know what I'm saying? We love that show.
Yeah. Well, so I kind of touched on it, like we were saying. You know, we had a conversation. You know, we hung out. You know, this is something we haven't done in a long time. We hung out, and that was, you know, the moment that I was bringing it up about my boy Biz. You know,
Right.
So, you know, I hadn't seen Biz for 30 years, right? You haven't heard that name on no podcast, right?
Yeah, no.
So for me, I'm coming from jail. I was just in jail with him. So when I tell him the story, I'm telling him, I'm not saying his government name. I'm saying the name he go by now because that's the name that like, y'all see my boy Biz, yo, you don't remember? He's like, word, yeah. Then 2 weeks later, I see is what it is. Like, wait, that's my story. Oh, motherfucker. Wait, hold up. I get on the phone, I hit yo, Mike, you was like this. Like, you know what I mean? But, like, even when I was outside there, I was talking to my mom, and I'm like, Ma, am I bugging? Like, because on that same podcast, he was talking about my brother. Oh, no, it was a different podcast. He was on Queen's Flip. Okay. And he was talking about my older brother who passed away, right? And he passed away early in the house before I was born.
Oh, wow.
But, the story it was so many different ways that the story was told, So sometimes they tell kids a story that is just for a kid.
Right.
So that you don't, get into the details.
Right.
So they'll tell you maybe he was passed away in a car accident. Right. That's probably the story that he was told, or it's probably a story he heard. But it doesn't make it untrue. It's just that's his experience.
Right.
And same thing with me. Well, my experience was I understood my brother passed from SIDS, sudden infant death.
Right.
So, it's things like that. Like even when we talk about like what got us started in basketball, for him, he probably couldn't even recall what was first, what came before, what was after. For me, as I remember, it was my dad. You know what I mean? He was the first one to take us to a Knick game. We was Knick fans, you know what I mean? And he took us to a Knick game and we bought us those 2 basketballs. He wrote our names on them because we gonna fight over who, know what I mean? Right. Yeah. So, he took me to the park, showed me how to cross the street. I'm crossing the street. He like, now you got to take your brother, man. I'm tired of you sitting here and not. Everywhere you go, you got to take him, And, first I didn't want to because, it's like your little brother.
Right.
But for the most part, I'm going through the motions like, fuck it, come on. Now I got somebody to go against, And he was like, I always want to tell people this, like I said earlier, like to have him as an opponent every single day. We talking in the park. Then we go home and do it on the hanger, on the Nerf set. We do it on a garbage can. We doing it with no shots, just moves on each other with the sock. Let me get past you. If I got past you, that's a point. All kinds of crazy stuff, and all of those little things help.
Yeah.
Playing baseball helped. Playing football helped. It helped me be able to maneuver through the traffic. Helped me be able to see the whole court. Skip was a quarterback in football. I was a running back. You know what I mean? So that helped his court vision.
Yeah.
Right.
Me being a running back helped me see my vision. I get to navigate and see how to cut through spaces, and use angles that other people don't use,
Yeah.
So that's really like another hack that people don't use. When you watch LeBron, you see his football skills. When you think about
That's
it.
a fact.
You see him running,
That's
you
a
see him
fact.
cutting, you see him running routes.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, If you watch Steve Nash, you see his soccer skills.
Yeah.
When he running, pa.
Right,
That's his soccer skills. Back in the days, we had Mark Clayton and Mark Super Duper from the Miami Dolphins. They took ballet to help with their basketball, to help with their football, so that they could learn how to land and don't twist their ankle. All these things were needed, and they, this stuff went over people's heads.
Yeah.
If you didn't have somebody to teach you these things or tell you that these things was necessary, you would probably be at a disadvantage when you go against other people.
You definitely would.
Even Allen
like the
Iverson was
technique
a
and stuff
football
like
player.
that.
That's right. That's right.
Damn, that. So what's your relationship now?
Oh man, I love it. Like, like when I was trying to get my oldest son, he wanted to try out for like a G League team.
Okay.
And it was in Toronto. So he's married and his wife, they're in Toronto. So it was a Toronto tryout. And he was like, yo, I want to go to this tryout. And I'm like, yo, wait, let's call Uncle. Let's see,
Yeah.
Right.
Call him and you just pick up the phone and he's like, yeah, let me make a call. And he gets on the phone, yeah, get him in and tell him to go right there. He get him right into the. Like,
that's
you can't
beautiful
do
right
that.
there.
That's
That's
dope.
fucking
That's
dope.
That's real dope.
That's fucking beautiful.
That's real dope.
Wow.
And then, like, even in life, like, I didn't have, the same type of resentment that a normal person would have, wishing that he got more from him or something, because he took my son and moved him down there in the mansion with him, you know what I mean?
Wow.
So he could go to high school down there. Then when we were getting him in college, he got him in Ventura College where he went. So this is type of shit that you can't put a price tag on.
No,
you know what I
no,
mean?
that's dope.
Oh, nah, he really
Like,
took
you know what
care
I
of
mean?
you.
Yeah,
You know
he
what I'm
really
saying?
took care of me. Made sure my worries were gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He took all of my worries off. Like, you figure the rest out. Like, you want to...
Yeah.
For him, I think, you know, I don't want to speak for him, but this was my interpretation. I think he was like, yo, you've been in jail so long,
Yeah.
my nigga, you need to relax
Yeah.
and figure your time out. Take your time, you know? And he was like, I don't know what to do, where to put him, you know what I mean? For fear of might fucking something up that he got going
Yeah.
or getting myself back in jail.
Yeah.
What if he gave me $1 million, right?
Ooh,
And I ain't have the sense, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
to, man, I would have went crazy. Crazy, buying all types of jewelry and getting kidnapped and like, you know what I mean? People would be like, oh yeah, you spending that money, nigga?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
That's a fact.
So
That's a fact.
like, I thank him for that. You know what I mean? The whatever the reason, I'm not saying that was the reason, but the outcome
Yeah.
was he put me in a position where I had the force to grow up.
Yeah.
He helped me get my son, my other son, right, from his mother, right? And so I
Okay.
had the opportunity to raise my son on my own, you know what I mean?
Wow.
And she was a blessing that no mother wants to do that. You know what I
For
mean?
real. Yeah.
But for her to do that, she knew I needed this.
Right.
I needed this. You know what I mean? I was working at ACS. I was trying to turn my life around. This was the catalyst. This was the final thing that I needed. Having my son as a responsibility twisted everything. You know? Like, oh, I don't even look back anymore.
Yeah.
And I haven't turned back yet.
Yeah.
And this is 20 years I've been home, no trouble. You know what I mean? Like, I feel great.
Can I get a round of applause for that?
That's a fact. Word. That's dope.
I think that one of the last things I want to do. What's this, man? What's this?
This guy right there.
Yeah.
Himalaya? Is this right here? You know what I'm saying? This Himalaya? This one right here. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. We get that up there. You know what I'm saying?
Get that in there. Let y'all know if that one live. Y'all know.
Talk to me about that, man.
So this is a drink I came up with. It contains, the ingredients is matcha, moringa, sea moss, right? And I ain't gonna tell you the last ingredient, so y'all ain't try to copy it, you know, but sea moss, matcha, and Tungcat Ali, right? So sea moss we know has 92 minerals of all the minerals that we need, and we know about that. But what people don't talk about is the sexual component of sea moss. Sea moss gives you energy, you know what I mean? And that gets the blood flowing, and that helps your performance in the bedroom, right? Then you have moringa. Moringa has a bunch of other things that the sea moss doesn't carry. So the other minerals, I think it's like 114, I don't know the exact number of minerals, but moringa has the rest of them, you know, a lot of the rest of them, you know? So it's kind of like you're looking for that balance, right? I was going to swinger parties, right? Yeah. Oh, y'all didn't think it was gonna turn that way? This is So yeah, you know, I'm going to these swinger parties, right? And I'm in there performing 3-4 different women, right? And I'm coming back the next day going to work where I got to drive at ACS, and I'm tired. So somebody asked me like, yo, this African lady that I was dealing with, she was like, yo, you know, hey, you ever tried moringa? Here, drink this tea. She gave me this tea. It was just moringa, but it was no sugar in it, you know? That shit was horrible. But, you know, I'm drinking it, and then like about a half hour later, she ready, you know? And I'm like, oh, you know, she's like, you know, real, like, come on, you gotta leave soon. Huh? So we get to rocking, and I'm performing. I'm like, whoa, like, you know, like, and she's like, you know, she's thick, so it's a lot of work, like, you know, there's a lot of slamming, there's a lot of wrestling, you know what I mean? So, you know, and I work out, but I ain't never, you know, never been the person that like to perform like that and still be, you know, upright the next day.
This shit got to
I'm
work.
telling you,
This
yeah,
shit
like,
work. Go ahead, keep
work,
going.
like, you know, and then, you know, matcha is also a mood enhancer. It helps with menopause. It helps with
That's for women, right?
For women, of
I
course.
don't
Yeah,
need that.
I'm saying this because
Menopause for women. Are you fucking serious?
what I'm saying is that it's not just a drink that men could use, right? It's not just a drink that young people could use.
Yeah.
Older people who have diabetes, cancer, if you're going through chemo, this all the ingredients in here helps you fight with those. It's a appetite suppressant. It's a mood enhancer. I said that already, but it's a detox, immune deficiency. You know what I mean?
This don't have no sugar in it?
Yeah, agave is the sugar that I
Okay,
use. So
okay.
instead of a sugar, I use sweet.
Oh, it is a sweetener.
Right.
Okay.
How long do it take to kick in for the energy?
He
For
said,
the energy, it's right away.
he said, how
It's
long does it
usually
take
right away.
for the energy to kick in? He doesn't have a mic, so you're not gonna hear it.
So right away. Usually, when I tell people when people drink it, they usually start saying as soon as they drink it, "Oh, I feel a little energetic already."
But don't got caffeine in it, right?
No caffeine. No caffeine. Nope. No caffeine whatsoever.
Prime getting hyped back there, just to
Yeah,
let you
yeah,
know.
I'm telling you. And like we said, we was talking about, I don't know if we could say their name, but is what it is.
Yeah, you
They
can say
can't,
their name. Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So they
Fucking
got
love
the
them, man.
purple, the Pink Panther, or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And but the difference is, like I said, that may be for just rocking out, but this you could use for healthy reasons as well. So it's not that many drinks that can cover that spectrum and go for male and female.
Where can you buy it at? Where can you buy it?
So really, right now it's just an order for me, DM, and But I've been working on trying to get it in the stores, and they want the actual label on the back. So
Definitely,
I have to get that proved. I already sent it in, but I got to get all of that approved.
I'm drinking this.
Yeah. And also, it works for muscle repair. So if you're working out,
See, that's what I
good
need
for
it for.
muscle repair.
That's what I need. That's why I'm drinking it. Yeah.
Pulse and stuff like that. That's what I was actually doing.
yeah, moringa is good for muscle recovery. Sea moss is good for muscle recovery, and the matcha. Yep.
You didn't use it for muscle recovery though.
Well, I mean, yeah. The right muscle. You know what I mean?
This nigga detox.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right. My last
Detox
question is,
crazy,
man.
yo. And you better leave that in the edit too. Dude is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh man. My next question is, man, can we get you and Skip on this podcast, man, and y'all have a real conversation, man, because y'all still got some stuff that y'all need to talk out and hash out, man.
Now he's actually, hold on, before you say that, he's asking you that before somebody else try to get the exclusive.
Yeah,
we want the exclusive. That's why we asking you that.
Right. So yeah, I'm definitely working on that. He even said it. So he's definitely in the same mindset that I am about it being home team. You know what I mean? So
That's
he's
a
like,
fact.
yo, if it's home team, because he got his prices and all that. He's like, nah, with home team, we got to do something different.
That's a fact.
So he definitely is in. But I'm going to say this, right? Me knowing him, and this is just without us having that talk, that ain't never been him to address certain things like that. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And I also want to, before we end, I don't know if we end it, but I definitely want to say this, right? Like, and I say this because, like, he was humble, right?
Mm-hmm.
We get this from my mother, right? My mother was very, very, she's very, very humble, right? She's super, super intelligent. Growing up, I didn't understand how great, how important she was or how important my dad was when they prioritized learning, right? So they wasn't really religious in the sense where religion trumps everything,
Right.
They wanted us to go to church or figure something out religiously, but above that was learning. Are you gonna listen, right? Can I teach you these things? So my dad taught me how to be able to assess something, look at it, and process it.
Critically
and
think.
I see critical thinking. Yes. So I see that today, and I didn't notice this until I went to jail. People would tell me in jail, like, yo, you could tell you went to Catholic school. I'm like, nigga, Catholic school? I went to public school. But the way you articulate, the way you got discipline,
Yeah.
And I was saying earlier about the people I grew up around. Me and Mike was talking about this. we had a group of friends that in our group, we talked about shit. We talked about intellectual things. There was no limit to what we talked about. Where other groups of kids, they only talked about a little bit of shit. You know? It didn't really get, diverse in the topic discussion, And growing up, my mother, she wanted us to learn so much. She was teaching us Spanish and French early, Before I ever went to first grade, I knew how to count in Spanish and French.
Wow.
So, and she's not French, she's not Spanish, She was adopted, so we don't know what the origin is. But, I like to say it had to have been something because now, today, I'm speaking 11 languages.
11 languages?
11.
What 11? What are these languages? Definitely Spanish, you said.
Yeah, Spanish,
English,
Italian, Portuguese, French, Haitian Creole. I could do my prayers in Arabic. I could do Finnish. I could do Russian. I could do Swedish, Yiddish,
damn,
Zulu. Yeah.
I barely know
Was that
English
like a
in this
whole
motherfucker.
a conversation in all those languages?
Well, not full conversations, but
you can
I
talk
could
a little
read
bit.
and write in 5. In Spanish, Italian, Portuguese. So Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, French, they kind of run similar. They all the same.
Romance language.
Yeah. Como ça va, como está, como está. It's all, como, they all the same.
It's
So,
the I, A, E, O,
yeah,
U,
changing the I to the
vowel,
E, the
right,
I to E or the A, you know what I mean? You do those. So those to me, I'm not, no guru or anything, but and I'm all self-taught.
But when you get down to the Russian and the Yiddish, is that close to German or Yiddish?
Yeah, I do. Oh wait, I didn't do German. Yeah, I
Right,
do
because
German,
that's all
especially Dutch,
right.
especially
Right.
Dutchland.
Right.
But English is a Germanic
Well,
language.
yeah, it is. That's what I'm saying.
And its characters.
Yeah.
So
And
like,
pronunciation is pretty much the same, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Just I think like the W's or V's for us and stuff like that. So things like, because the only reason why I know this because
Vater.
one of my friends lives in Germany now. He was just like, a lot of times when you see words that in German that may look like an English word, you can probably pronounce it like an English
you
word.
pronounce it the same way. They say,
So when you study etymology, that's the origin of the words, right?
Yeah.
You see where they come from.
Right.
A lot of us here in America, black people, we're not taught immediately how to speak these other languages, right? So we look at things and we call it backwards.
Yeah.
We're the ones that's actually backwards. We say toilet paper. Everybody else says paper toilet. And we look at them like, what the fuck? But
I'm definitely got that look on my face
yeah,
right now.
But English was a late language.
Yeah.
So English the one who changed it around to make it toilet paper.
Right.
Everywhere else they saying paper toilet.
Yeah.
So a lot of the things we just adapt
Yeah.
from our colonizers, you know what I mean? And they forced that language on us.
That's a fact.
And that's how it started for me, like processing. I was trying to learn the transatlantic slave trade. I started getting books like Machiavelli, but it was in Italian.
Right.
So it was, I had to,
You
had to
really had to
translate.
go
try to
go
learn
do
it. Yeah, so I was
Nice,
like, well,
nice.
how to learn that without knowing Italian? Like,
that's
I mean, Tupac talk about Machiavelli, and I'm like, well, what is that? Like, you know what I mean? So then I'm like, well, I need to do some research, and I get the book, and it's like, well, whoa, how are we missing this? We missing the information because when you put it in that language and then you translate it, it's gonna lose some of its content. Just like the Bible, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when they did that, they did it on purpose.
Yeah.
They took out stuff that they didn't want you to know.
That's
you
a
know what I
fact.
mean? Like,
That's
oh
a
no, we
fact.
can't let them know this.
Yeah.
Hey, black man, God? Like, oh hell no.
Yeah.
Like, Psalms 82, ye are gods. They fucked up. They didn't mean to leave that in there. That was a mistake. You know what I mean? They didn't want you to be calling yourself no God. Like, what?
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. My point was that my mom, she was super stressing education and learning. You know what I mean? Just don't be a fool. Whatever you're doing,
That's a fact.
do it on your own. If it's of your own volition and you fucking it up, that's a lesson. There's a blessing within that lesson right there. You know what I mean?
That's a fact.
And I think that's what saved me. No matter what I was going through in life, I always remained a student. I was a student of the game.
Yeah.
Basketball, like that's another thing the myth about Skip. he's a street ball player. No, he's a legit basketball player. He didn't start off in street ball. He started off in organized basketball. So street ball came later. We got years of training. It's like being a classical pianist.
Right.
You see them start doing rap music and you're like, oh, he can make beats. Oh no, he's a classical pianist. Like this ain't no, this ain't a fluke.
Yeah.
He didn't just go. People think he went from street ball to the NBA.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. You ain't never seen that happen. You have never seen that happen. He was a trained basketball player. He just so happened to do street ball.
Right.
You know what I mean? We went through schooling, training, basketball camps, trainers, all the types of shit. Like this wasn't no, I just came off the, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's dope.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Bug, you got anything?
Yo, Rob, I appreciate you calling me, bro. Cause I was calling you a couple months ago on that shit we was talking about. But I'm proud of you, bro. On some, like your redemption is crazy. You know what I'm saying? And for you to be vulnerable and tell your personal story here, I applaud you for that, bro. And I'm really proud of you. And I can't wait for you and your brother to be here and tell your story together, yo.
I definitely want to hear because, like I said, is a difference of perspective.
Yeah, that's a fact.
He was
and
wrong.
then y'all have y'all
right.
same perspective
Right.
together.
Then we share the same. Right,
that's a
right.
fact.
So I'm a fan. I want to see it. You know? I want to be next to it and see how.
Hell
that shit'll go viral, bro. That shit'll go viral.
That's a fact.
Wow.
When people when I hear the talk about LeBron versus MJ and stuff like that, like there's a different perspective from the people who actually played at a higher level, right? When you talk about like Isaiah Thomas or somebody, or Shaq or Clyde Drexler, none of those people will ever look at LeBron and call him a bum.
Right.
No.
Right? I hear people online call him a bum.
Like
you know what I mean?
Rodney P. Rodney P is right here.
He ain't in the camera right there,
My nigga, you gotta think, bro. Yeah. How can a bum, like, I want to say this, right? If a bum can pass Michael Jordan,
right.
What does that make Michael Jordan?
Right.
That's not even logically, like, you know what I mean?
Hold on. We got to do the show first and then you got to talk. That's
I just want to know. Because a lot of people do that. They want to call. I'm not saying he's the GOAT. I'm not saying that. Well, I'm just saying he ain't no bum. Because if you ever done anything, if you was a barber at a high level, you know what it took for you to get there.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
You know what it takes for you to keep doing it.
That's a fact.
You gonna respect another motherfucker when they doing their
That's a fact.
Absolutely.
That's a fact.
greatness. Respect greatness.
That's a fact.
Absolutely.
So when I hear other niggas talking, they on social media like, oh fuck that. Oh no, my nigga, you can't have been great. You couldn't have been great.
I heard that.
You know what I mean? It's
I
just
heard
real.
that.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I ain't hating on nobody. I heard that. You know, like I always ask, what was you great at?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
We did have a request, though. We wanted to know, in your opinion, who was the first one who was dancing with the basketball?
oh man, man, me, man. Like, I mean, now, like,
Talk about it.
To tell you how it came about, right? I was playing in Brooklyn and the music was on, right? I was playing this tournament in Nehru. It's called Nehru. Playing in Nehru, and the music was crazy. And I was already like into dancing, but I'm watching the game before my game. The dude doing the move, but I thought he was doing it
A
to the
dance
thing,
move,
yeah,
right,
but he
right.
wasn't.
But it
I
looked like
said
it,
to
right.
myself, if I take this back to Queens, I'm going crazy. You know how nowadays you want to go viral.
Yeah.
Back then, you just wanted somebody to talk about you.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
So, you know, first chance I get, you know, I'm practicing it first, but the first chance I get to do it.
Once you got the ball now?
Yeah,
That's what you
yeah, you know what I mean? That's like, you know. And when I'm training kids today, that's like my hack.
Yeah.
If I can teach you, if you can dance, then I can show you how to correlate these things and show you steps. You know, a lot of people, when they watch a basketball game, right? When all of us here, we watch a basketball game, you think, oh, look at that shot, right? Or you think, look at that move, look at that dribble. Nobody's watching a game and like, oh, look at his feet. You know what I mean? I watch the game in different, you know, blocks. I'm watching from the lower. You know what I mean? I don't care about the shot. I don't care about. I want to know, how did he step like that? How did he do that? How did his feet move? You know, when you see that ladder that they do, those, you know, those that's what that's about. And a lot of people don't understand, you know, or don't see, you know, how it correlates or translates into a game. But there's so many of these things that we do, you know, like I was saying about the dancing and the footballs, all of these things, you know what I mean? Throwing the pass long, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a football pass, you know, seeing that route, leading him, throwing the pass above him so he could run to it, that's football. You know, baseball, running on that angle, you know. When I look at basketball, even the floor is in these like triangles for me. You know, they're not in like this long rectangle that you see with the divider. I see in angles. You know what I mean? I look at it as, can I go this way and this way and this way and this way?
Sound like a whole
you know
mathematician
I mean?
right now, B.
Yeah.
I can't see that, but yo.
Yeah,
Ramar,
we definitely got to get a part 2, man. 'Cause
Yes,
I got so
man.
much stuff
Yes,
that I ain't
man.
even, you know, that I wanted to talk about, that I forgot about because I was drinking. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, you ain't had to say that on camera. You know?
Man, we wrong.
Nah, that's so good.
You know,
what I'm
South
saying?
Side, man.
That's
That's
a
what
fact,
we do, man.
Word.
Yo, we appreciate you coming, man. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks
Love
for
that you
asking.
came.
Thanks for asking, man.
Word.
It wouldn't be great if we
literally
didn't ask.
he asked me. You know
No
what I mean?
doubt.
And when Bug asked me, it was like, yo, I immediately called Skip, like, yo, you know, the first couple times it was like, I don't know, you know, he didn't get right back to me. But then when I finally got him, he was like, yeah, hell yeah, I'll do it. It's like, yo, this is gonna be crazy. And the wheels started to turn. It's like, yo, that was fucking genius because nobody has ever had both of us.
That's a fact.
Word.
Nobody. You can't have no footage of both of us together at the same time.
Word.
It's like a myth, you know.
Word.
Sometimes I
That's
played
just like a
basketball
myth.
against people, they thought it was him.
Wow.
You know, we was younger because we looked just alike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Shane the dribbling machine. I was in the Bronx one day, and our game was before that. When I'm coming off the court, he was walking past, says something, and then I didn't know him, so I didn't know he was talking to me. Like, oh, you acting funny today? And I was like, it wasn't until years later when I saw him with my brother. I was like, oh shit, that's what he probably thought it was. You know what I mean? Like, Yep.
Yo, G, you got anything else?
Nah, man. Nah, we really ain't got much more, man. We spent enough of your time up, man. We appreciate you coming by, man, and giving us your story.
Man, I
I
appreciate
thought you was gonna say the
Thanks.
thing you was gonna say.
Thanks for coming out. God bless you. Now. Yo, give a shout out to Prime. Talking about, give a shout out to Prime.
Shout
You
out,
never give a
man.
shout out to my
Definitely
man
shout out to
Prime
my
over
man
here.
Prime.
And I said I'm
Yo.
gonna give a shout out to my man Prime over here.
Okay. Shout out to
Prime
Prom.
Focus.
We love you, man.
Yes.
Thank you for coming. Happy birthday to your daughter for sure.
Happy
you know what I'm
birthday
saying?
to your daughter,
Happy
kid.
birthday.
For
Happy
real, for
birthday,
real, man.
Alright,
Let me
Prime.
shout out my mother.
Please do.
Man, my mother, man, I never, you know, got to thank you so much just for the effort you put into me. You know what I mean?
You're looking at my camera right there.
You know, I really appreciate how you poured into me, Rafer and Racine, my sister. Also want to shout out, man, Criminal Guard, man. Shout out Criminal Guard.
That's our man, too,
yes,
Kai.
Yes. Lord Kasim, man. You know, I tied both of them in because he has that same, you know, drive to want to push the people and get us all together. You know what I mean? So shout out to my brother. Peace and blessings, man. God with the blessings.
Yes,
Yo, this
sir.
Detox. That's Bug Out. That's G. Prime on the boards. We got Ramar
We got
Alston.
Rodney P and we got Mikey here too. He's here too.
You can't see it right now. Southside in the building.
That's a fact.
Ramar Alston. This is the Thanks for Asking show, and we out.
Peace.
Peace and blessings. God with the lessons, man. You're now watching Thanks for Asking podcast, man, with your boy Ramar Alston, man. When I'm not here, man, I'm checking all the episodes. So you do the same, man. Check in, tap in, subscribe, all that. Hit that like, hit the notifications, whatever you follow on all platforms, man. Turn up.